Hello, this is Kurt Brown, also known as Saint Rambone. Putting things in context. I started thinking about Bill Clinton and his behavior with Monica Lewinsky and the cigar in 1988 or 1999. And what she allegedly stuck it in her behind. It's a scented cigar from what is that? The Dominican Republic. It is tainted with liquor and kissed by somebody from the islands. Some people think it's funny, but I think he was probably injected, stunned and injected, and his behavior was off. Mine was off a bit. I was in the CEO chair of the FDIC in Sacramento FDIC in Roseville, California on November 12, 1999. Financial Services Modernization Act of 1999 enactment day. It's an easy number to follow from the numerological perspective. 11/12/1999 is read in the U.S. method. I busted a sheriff on 4/3/2001. I wish I could remember the day in the Navy in 1983 in which I first saw Cyclops weapons and was exposed to nuclear contamination. But I do not remember the day. However, I do remember it was close to Christmas in 1983 when I was exposed to nuclear radiation. And my boss, AWOL G. Crap, scooted off back to Texas. He told me to flee, but I had forgotten it by the next day because I had had a stroke at sea during the first voyage. We came in for that weekend. My petty officer, CPO petty officer, who I call AWOL G. Crap, also known as Park Gloa, he hauled ass to Texas. Last seen renting storage spaces or store your shit. I don't blame him. I wish I had run too, but I had forgotten everything about our conversation until recently. Also, because of this deal with Bill Clinton in 1998 or 1999, and because of the FDIC regional director being killed in 1991 in San Francisco's FDIC, an alleged suicide, I think he was stunned and they blew his brains out with his own gun. Do not bring a gun to the fight unless you're prepared to get your brains blown out with it. They have new weapons, new stunning weapons. They also have drugs they can inject you with to make you forget stuff. It was all part of my Navy training, or perhaps it was the first prelude to international war, considering the Americas were probably falling into the hands of whoever controls Europe. And that could be anyone. That could be someone far, far away, as in space. The old captain said the war is fought from space. The next move. Man, I've had so many strokes I can't even remember. Bear with me, folks. I've had so many strokes I can't remember. I've been exposed to radiation. Shoot. Let's see here. Yeah, President Bill Clinton, I bet he was tampered with. Who else would be stupid enough to go away with a glass Steagallman? Yeah, I think it's Glass Steagallman. Something like that. That's basically the act that got did away with. It established the FDIC in 1933 or 1938. And they got rid of it in 1992 and 1999. They threw the rest of it away. I'm giving the young fair warning. This is an internationally controlled government and you might as well go elsewhere. Protect your young. If you go into the military, you might as well kill yourself and all your future children because you will be subjecting them to a lesser world. Radiation and other elements are leaving us maimed. Men with repeated generations in the military are having children who are barely alive if those men can themselves can even reproduce. Yes. If you go in the military, you don't have any health care. If you use a VA as I did. I'm giving up on the United States, to be honest with you. I see as a nation has been overthrown. Just like when Russia fell, so did the Soviet bloc nations fall off the edge. I think in a way the United States has already been hit in this same fashion. It was primarily instigated in 1991 in a global affront, a new level of warfare in which you don't know what's going on and you can't remember anything. I remember we were working at a bank. I was a federal bank examiner for the FDIC, which is a federal agency. In 1999, it was before November 12th. I was told to go to a bank. I can't remember which one it was. Told to sit outside the bank, or outside in the office. I just sat down. And I remember before we got there, my boss Kenneth, I believe he was told to come to the bank, or someone looked like him, perhaps. I also remember later there was a woman who was there at the bank who was very concerned. She was sitting not far from the vault entrance. I'd probably say a total of 20 feet. She's like one of those ladies you see in the back row at the banks, I guess. And she was telling me, and I believe we were being stunned, or I got stunned afterward. The men were bringing large sacks of cash or something in, and she didn't know what was going on, and she looked very disheveled. They set a tube. Actually, I sat down in my chair. As a lazy bank examiner I am, don't knowing exactly what the job is I'm supposed to do, but I do it anyway, because to be honest with you, most bank examiners are shot for brains. They don't have medical training and psychology training as I do. We were hit in 1999. Your FDIC was robbed probably of trillions of dollars of assets. I'm telling you young, they might as well leave the United States as they plan on getting wealthy, because people are also being stunned in their homes just in the Holocaust and robbed, just as my mother and I experienced in 1994 after the death of Kurt Cobain. I was told I was to get some money. It was just after Kurt Cobain's death. I never saw any of that money. To be honest with you, he never said Kurt Cobain, but I later remembered after my stroke recovered, I have a brother named Kurt. And that's the one that played the song in 1987 before my father was killed. I was so messed up after I came out of the Navy. I had a stroke and they did not even treat me. They might as well shoot you in the head before you go in the military. Save you time. You're obsolete. The war is fought from outer space. You are deceiving yourself if you think you can change this world in any shape, form, or fashion, unless you got a spaceship with a big zapper out there. Even then, it better be a long-range one, because I'm sure they got their own in stealth. In my opinion, the United States is already broke up by the fact of the law differences in both the East and Western United States. The West has been deemed probably most likely the next marijuana producer, and most likely in the future the next heroin producer, opium. Of course, you can get it at your local pharmacy if you really need it. But that's my feeling on it. It broke apart. It started to dissolve. Where next, Durango? Where do you go? I've said some things about Mexico in the past, and I do apologize for that, Mexico was actually beat down by Europe in 1861 or something, 1862. The Europeans came and decided to take back over, and around 1982 they took back over Argentina's Falkland Islands. Then in 1983 they looked like they took over the USA again, at least to some large extent, as evidence what I experienced in the Pacific in 1983. As a quartermaster, Kurt Brown for the USS Reed FFG 30. REID. So you got a sticky cigar from the Dominican Republic stuck up Monica Lewinsky's kazoo. Everybody thinks it's funny, yahoo, yahoo, except for you know who. Because I know old Bill, even though he likes to dance, he's not one that likes to prance in the moonlight bare naked with his kazoo. For Monica Lewinsky and whatever bitch she can screw. I think the old boy had a crack up. I also think he was stoned. Not stoned, but he was stoned, all right. He was stunned and then injected with memory erasing equipment. This is a banking system. This is a big ball. It's a big game. Nobody even talks about this stuff that happened in Roseville. I've been getting attacked lately. A lot of accusations and things. I think people accuse me of things so they can make me popular. Maybe I should get a paycheck. The news stations won't hire me. I advise the young to leave the United States if they want. They say, I pledge allegiance to the flag. You got to ask your question. How many dirty flags are in that little black box? And how many of them were consumed by a predator? Large international predators. This is little old Kurt Brown, St. Rambone. Almost famous auditor. Mobile Audit Club website. YouTube, Kurt Brown, St. Rambone uploads. Doodah Day.